Are you in the midst of surviving chaos or dealing with the aftermath of the come down? Well, I wanted to offer you a part two to the secret sauce to surviving chaos. I know what it is like and just want you all to know you are not alone. I know how tough it can be. Well, you clicked on the right video. I know what you all are going through, so I wanted to offer some tips, some tricks to help you navigate some really tough situations. I know sometimes the simplest things can help, and I wanted to, offer you guys all some honest truths that may help you during this time or for any time you may be dealing with chaos in the future. I just wanted to remind you all, you deserve safety first. You do not owe anyone your story while you're still surviving. Survival mode is tricky to navigate. Our emotions are very high. We're very hyper vigilant. We may be very stressed out, a little skeptical of new situations that arise or people that come into our life. And I know what that is like. Some themes I wanted to touch on in this video is survival mode, chaos, stress, the burnout we receive from it, the lack of emotional safety you may feel, and reclaiming your peace. Because I know it's not always the easiest to heal, but once we focus on healing and not focus on who hurt you or hurt us is when, more peace can arrive. You also have to be ready to share your story. Make sure your body is ready and you're not seeking validation or making accusations or seeking justice, just truth. You just want to speak your truth and come from a loving place. I know it can be difficult when injustices are done to us and we aren't able to speak our truth, but I want to remind you all that you still have power in whatever situation you may be navigating. So like I stated, if you are still in the midst of navigating some really tricky things, I want to remind you that your story will still matter. Just have patience and just trust the timing. Everything is unfolding. I want to remind you all as well to share your feelings, not names, timelines, accusations. That is something I think is highly important for us to remember when we're navigating some really tricky things. I recommend as well is waiting until that storm passes to maybe learning to start slowly sharing your truth. I know some of us may be stuck in environments around certain people and with institutions, just things along those lines, and it's a tricky thing to navigate. In my first video about surviving chaos, I talked about gold nanobites. If you guys do not know what those are, I want you to go look that up online, maybe read in between the lines about what I was trying to put down. Some people will not understand, my situation or your situation, and that's okay. I know it can feel very lonely. I know I have felt very isolated my whole entire life. It is a hard thing to express yourself, to share your story, to, find the right people to trust to open up to, because I know I have been in situations where I've been around people who lack integrity, high morals, and, ethics. So once you get burned a few times, I know how that feels where you try and open up and it just leaves you more frightened to speak your truth. You feel you are being silenced and shut down, or maybe even called crazy. And I just want to remind you all, you're not crazy. There are people out there that know what you are dealing with, what you're trying to navigate, what you're trying to escape and survive. So just to remind you, your story will still matter down the road. Prioritize your safety first if you are still in the midst of it. I also know the come down from chaos is very hard to deal with as well. I recommend finding some healthy coping skills. I know being creative helps me so much, or just, cuddling a pet, making sure I'm getting enough sleep, I'm eating healthy, I have an outlet to release all my emotions, like journaling, art, drawing. I love being on YouTube, trying to help you all, because I know there's people who have needed me in certain environments, and I have been someone who has truly helped people greatly with navigating, some tricky dynamics. So that is why I'm here. I want you all to know how freaking strong you are. I know it may not feel like it in this moment. You may feel like you're crumbling. You don't know how you're going to survive. You feel like you keep hitting a roadblock, but I want to give you a mental pep talk. You got this. Some people who are going through some tough things their whole life, that is like preparation for your dream life, and you have to have the strength to keep going. I know this may feel so heavy and debilitating, but I want you all to know you are so freaking capable of that life you envisioned. You are capable of figuring out an escape plan. You are capable of healing in a healthy way. And you are capable of finding people, your soul tribe, who will love you in the right way and who will be safe for you to open up to. It is also very tricky to, you know, not name names, not make accusations, or share timelines of the things you're going through. I know that is something I have learned to be aware of, because it can trigger an emotional reaction on the other side, and it is a scary thing to deal with. I have not shared my story with many people. Eventually, I would love to open up to more people. In prior videos, I said my life is literally like an action movie. I've had some prophetic things happen to me. I have been in situations that are not normal for the typical person. So it is hard to open up about what my life experience has been like, what I have been through when I'm trying to navigate all the shit that is thrown at me with intimidation, silencing, harassment, people trying to place false labels on my name. So if you are dealing with any of that, just know you are not alone. You may not be able to see the forces that are behind the scenes protecting you, but I want you all to know there are people out there that are rooting for you, that support you, and that love you so deeply. I don't know many of you, but I'm sending you so much love and strength. I know how hard it is to deal with chaos. Some of us get bored in boredom, if that makes sense, and we don't feel comfortable in it because we're used to chaos our whole entire life. But it is a tricky thing to, regulate your emotions and rewiring, like your mind state, your DNA, just the ancestry that you have, the family dynamic you were born into, and all of that. So it takes a while. I know I am 30 years old, and it's taken me a very long time to heal, to ground myself, to find healthy coping skills and methods that help me without, without certain things in my life. I have learned to, meditate, eat healthy, get rest, have healthy connections around me, set firm boundaries, and that has helped me greatly in just navigating my everyday life. I know it can get tiring. Storms feel like they're never going to end when they come into our life, but just so you're aware, storms have to pass and the sun has to come out at some point. So don't be too down. Everything's going to be okay, I promise you. It is also very tricky when you are emotional, angry about the injustices that have been done to you. And that's why it is so important for us to heal, stabilize our emotions, our mind state, and understand what actually happened, and also separating facts from emotional impact. I know how tricky it is, but like I said earlier, your story will still matter whenever your body is ready to share it. Isolation is huge in chaos and survival mode. I want to remind you all, please find a hobby, go play pickleball, join like a book club, go to the gym, just find an outlet where you can find a community that you don't have to share things with if you're not ready for it or open to. I know certain dynamics we need to be careful about who we share our story with and things that we know we have been through, stuff like that. So finding a hobby, even if you don't want to connect with people, you're not ready for it, draw, get a Cricut machine if you can, read books, play video games, just do some, cook, bake, learn how to do that. I know I try and offer some people words of advice. I always ask, like, do you want any unsolicited advice that may help you? I always ask before because I know I'm someone who does not like unsolicited advice because some people don't come from a loving place, but I know, just giving people some options that they may not have thought of helps. So I just wanted to offer you guys that as well. You owe yourself safety first. I know I am repeating that a lot, but it is so important to remember that when you are still dealing with the chaotic situation you're in. And I want you all to know you will figure out an escape plan and it will be over eventually. Just stay strong, keep going, and you need to have that unfuckwithable mindset activated, and maybe think like Tony Stark. If you haven't seen any of the Marvel movies, he was captured and in a cave, and he had to figure out a way to escape the environment enclosure that he was in. So he built his Iron Man suit, the famous superhero. So I like to think of that. I would also recommend keep your future plans to yourself. Sometimes sharing our future plans with people can throw off the energy, and sometimes we need to move in silence. So that is also something I think is very important to remember. If you haven't checked out my first video, part 1 to Surviving Chaos, the secret sauce, go check that out on my channel. I am a new creator. I am so happy to be here, and I'm so thankful for all of you who have joined me along my journey being here. It is not easy for me to be here, but I feel in my soul that I am someone whose energy is meant to be shared, and I hope you all like this video. It helped you. And if it resonated with you, give it a like. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. I am very unique, very dorky, and I hope you all know how strong you are, and I am here if you ever need anything.